Greetings. Again, a second series about John Hagee and his lies about the Israelis. Christians united for the Jews, for Israel. Christians united for Israel. And many videos about Israel, all full with lies about the Israelis and false talk. Some of it true, but most of it is are lies. He twists and he apply, something forever. It doesn't stop, non-stop. Okay, but history tells us he was lying. We have history and we have their book that they invented and made up themselves. Okay, verse 4 in Genesis chapter 12, verse 4. So Abraham went, as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. Abraham was 75 years old. Please, this is an important information. Keep it in mind. He was 70 years old when he left Ur of Babylon, the southern part of Iraq today. Very well. When he set from Haran, his city, Haran, in Ur, he took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, all the possessions that they had accumulated and the people they had acquired in Haran, and they set out for the land of Canaan. Now, they say, but I don't believe them, that the time between us and Jesus Christ is 2,000 years. And the time between Jesus and Abraham, another 2,000 years. And the time between Abraham and Adam, a third 2,000 years. And earth life is 6,000 years. A huge lie. Miserable lie. But we're not going to discuss this right now. We're not discussing the age of earth that dates to billions of years. 6 to 7 billions, maybe more. Humanity existed on this earth for hundreds of thousands of years. But this is not our discussion today. You are trying to uncover the lies about the Israeli Jews. Why? Before we continue, let me tell you why. It's my duty as a Muslim and the duty of every Muslim. According to Quran, in Surah number 17, Allah says, when the second promise comes, and I'll explain that, when the second promise comes, we are allowed to uncover the truth about the Israeli Jews today. The Western media is lying and covering up for the Israeli Jew terrorism. It's our duty to uncover them. It's our duty to tell the world the truth and what they are doing against the Palestinians today. And their real history, rotten history. It has to be told. It has to be uncovered, revealed, for the whole world to see. It's our duty today as a humanity. If we have any decency left, if we have any shame in our veins, we have to reveal it, to uncover the Israeli Jews and for what they are really all about. Not the lies that we hear from someone like John Hagee about them and Christians united for Israel. Very well. So remember, Abraham, when he left Ur or Haran, was 70 years old. He had no children. 70 years old and he had no children. Very important for us to know at this point. Because, this is related to the promises that the Lord made. And we mentioned in the last video. Okay. All right. So, he arrived at Canaan. So, as I said, they lie and say that from today to Jesus 2000, from Jesus to Abraham 2000. So 4,000 years back, when Abraham left his people and his city in Babylon, in Haran, the city of Ur, he reached to Canaan. Now what is Canaan? If you go to the book of Zephaniah in the Old Testament, before Jesus was born, longer before 2,000 years back. Too long back in history. Zephaniah says in chapter 2, verse 5, O Canaan, land of the Philistines. Philistines translates into English into Palestine and Palestinians. But the original language is Philistines, not Palestine. English was invented hundreds of years after Jesus Christ. And this is hundreds of years before Jesus. Or thousands of years, 2,000 years according to them. Abraham went to Canaan. Zephaniah say, Canaan, the land of the Philistines. So this is how long back in history Palestinians existed. And the land of Canaan, or the land of the Philistines, existed. It's old history. From the beginning of time, Palestine existed. Israelis existed, 2,000 years back. Or they came to Palestine 2,000 years back, and they were kicked out of 2,000 years back. And now they returned 70 years back. So remember, Canaan, we are mentioning, 2,000 years before the birth of Jesus Christ, 4,000 years from today, according to their false information, according to what they say. But I tell you, Abraham existed much longer than 2,000 years before Jesus. And Moses existed more than 1,000 years before Jesus. But they can lie as they wish about this history. All their book is full with lousy, false history. Anyway, very well. So the land of Canaan, the Palestinian land, existed hundreds and thousands of years, 2,000 years according to them, during the day of Abraham. It is mentioned right here. And Canaan, the father of the Canaanite, according to them, was one of the children with 3 sons of Noah and the flood. So Noah came after Adam. So even thousands of years before before Abraham, Canaan existed, and the Canaanites came from him. His descendants are the Canaanites from Canaan. It's mentioned in Genesis. Read about, the flood and Noah and the descendants of Noah, and he made a curse over Canaan. Because that's the Jew who wrote Genesis wanted to curse Canaan, because they are their mortal enemies from the Palestinians. They wrote the book. When they started writing the book, they cursed Canaan and the Canaanites from the Palestinians. But Canaan was during Noah's days, even thousands of years before Abraham, and much more thousands of years before Jesus Christ, and much more thousands before any Israeli was born, because every Israeli was born after Abraham, not before. And this land belonged to the Palestinians, Canaan, the land of the Philistines. Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 5. Very well. Remember that Canaan is going to be repeated many times. Thousands of years old, before any Israeli ever existed, or any Jew, to that matter. We will know when Jews were invented. Okay, so chapter 12, verse 6, Abraham traveled through the land as far as the site of the great tree of Moriah at Shechem. Okay? At that time, the Canaanites, Canaan, Zephaniah, O Canaan, land of the Philistines. Canaanite from Canaan. Canaanite means Palestinians in English, that came hundreds of years after Jesus, were not in existence during those days with Abraham. The Canaanites were in the land. For every stupid out there who denies the Palestinians' existence back then. They existed thousands of years before. They were thousands of years before Abraham, the grandfather of the Israelis. Canaanites were in the land. They had a land, the land of the Canaanites, and the Canaanites were in the land before Abraham arrived. to Canaan. The Lord appeared to Abraham and said, "Your offsprings I will give to your offsprings I will give this land." So he built an altar there to the Lord who had appeared to him. So the Lord is saying, to your offsprings, to Abraham's offsprings. Please remember this. It's very important, because this will uncover all the lies of the Jews and the Israelis and those who support them from the slaves, the rotten slaves, the Zionists, among the Christians. Not all Christians are Zionists, but some of those Christians, stupid, rotten Zionists, slaves to the Israeli nation. So, according to the Lord will give this land of Canaan to the offspring of Abraham. Another promise from the Lord. But we want to know, what is the meaning of your offsprings? We need to know that. Because right now, John Hagee and those like him, they say Israel, Israel. Ignorant. From there he went on toward the hills east of Bethel and pitched his tent. Okay? East of Bethel, he put a tent with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. There he built an altar to the Lord and called on the name of the Lord, and then called on the name of the Lord. Very well. Then Abraham set out and continued toward Negev. Okay. So now Abraham is in Canaan, among the Canaanites who were in the land, literally, were Canaanites who were in the land. Canaanites and the land of the Canaanites, thousands of years before the Israelis. So now we start with Abraham in Canaan, among the Canaanites who were in the land of Palestine. And we'll continue next time from this point. Take care.